UBS has launched a $10 billion cost-cutting exercise following its takeover of Credit Suisse. Despite posting a record profit, 3,000 jobs will go in Switzerland alone. The head of the bank telling staff that other posts will close when people retire, and analysts warning thousands of other jobs all around the world could also go. Well, UBS Group reported more than $29 billion in profit between April and June, a record for any bank. That compares to $2.6 billion in the same period last year, but it's widely seen as a one-off boost caused by the Credit Suisse buyout. Well, let's talk now to Vicky Pryce, the distinguished international economist and business consultant. Vicky, I guess if this was a shotgun marriage, there's a lot of shotgun and not much marriage.
That's absolutely true. But of course, there is an integration. So the two units aren't going to be separate anymore. I think what quite a lot of investors or people hopeful in Switzerland were expecting was that maybe the Credit Suisse bit would be spun off at some point. But instead, what we now know with the announcement today is that, in fact, it's all going to be just absorbed into UBS. So the whole Credit Suisse name will disappear, and this absorption will happen by 2025. So a bit of disappointment there, particularly since there are a number of organizations which are contesting all this at present, including pension funds that have been investing in both banks, including, of course, in terms of the way this shotgun wedding happened, as you rightly describe it, meant actually that loads of bondholders lost out completely, and there are now lawsuits going all around the world to try and get some of that money back, if you like, and also suing in some countries, like in Japan, the financial advisors that sold them those bonds. So there's quite a lot going on, a lot of resentment about this decision. But of course, as you rightly say, big profits, mainly because of this negative goodwill, as we call it, which is because, of course, UBS paid only $3.5 billion for it and got a benefit in terms of the assets of Credit Suisse, which were valued at about $29 billion.
So far as customers and staff are concerned, I mean, what kind of challenges is UBS going to face in, to use their term, full integration?
It's not easy in terms of the structures, the people doing different things, of course, but also the systems that they have been using. What they also are going to be trying to do is reduce the investment banking side of Credit Suisse as they acquired it, the one that is really profitable, has been profitable and remains so in Credit Suisse, even when it was going through all its problems, is the wealth management side, which had seen loads of cash disappearing, and that is really why at the end, Credit Suisse was brought down. But now some of that, we're told, is returning with sort of net inflows into UBS overall in that wealth management division. Of course, you need to integrate it. It's not easy, but what we've heard is the sort of strategy which suggests that costs need to be cut while this integration is taking place. We're talking about $10 billion US dollars of cuts to happen over the next few years, much faster than had been anticipated earlier. There had been a plan to do so anyway, but now it's going to happen faster, and it's going to, in fact, cost, or rather lose even more costs that the bank at present is bearing in a shorter period of time. So a lot of work that needs to be done. Question is, can it indeed happen? And what will happen to all these people? Of course, we're going to lose their jobs.
Some commentators might suggest that few will shed many tears over a load of bankers losing their jobs. But, I mean, how will 3,000 banking job losses in Switzerland affect that economy and that jobs market in a relatively small community?
There are about 37,000 workers at present in the two banks, and if you lose that number is substantial, but the question is how many more? If you have a cost-cutting plan of $10 billion US dollars over the next couple of years, well, that does suggest that perhaps many more people will lose their jobs. And of course, there are people working abroad in other parts of the empire. So yes, it is important. Of course, the financial sector is very important in Switzerland. But the most interesting thing is that you end up with just one bank really in Switzerland with assets, well, with a balance sheet which is almost as large as the Swiss economy itself. There's no competition, in other words. So does one really want to change things very much when you have no competition? I think that would be the challenge for the CEO and everyone who works right now in UBS.
Vicky, good to see you. Thanks for coming on the programme. Vicky Pryce, the economist and business consultant.
Thank you.